I want to get into what Muriel Bowser had to say about Trump's occupation just last week.
Our North Star is protecting home rule and the district's autonomy in all things, especially during this last 8 months, where it has been clear that our autonomy has kind of been in the crosshairs. That's our North Star. Since the beginning of this federal surge of officers, it has always been my focus on, we didn't ask for any federal officers, we're driving crime down, but while they're here, how can we most strategically use them to accelerate the work that MPD has done? So that's our point. The next point is, how do we exit from this emergency that the president declared? We know what the law says. He can declare it for just about anything. It runs 30 days unless the Congress stops it. I thought I made it very clear. What has not worked during this period of time is ICE terrorizing communities, especially with masks, and especially not having enough information about where people are. I've said that repeatedly. I'll say it again. What hasn't worked, in my opinion, and hasn't been efficient and is not on mission is National Guard troops, especially from other states.
So imagine our surprise when this was last week, but imagine our surprise when on September 2nd, there was an order created, the creation of the Safe and Beautiful Emergency Operations Center. This is guidance from the Office of the Mayor. The mayor's order is 2025 for 2025-090. And she, in this statement, or in this order, says in Section 2, there is established the Safe and Beautiful Emergency Operations Center, whereby they will be coordinating with United States Marshal Service, the FBI, the United States Park Police, the DEA, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the United States Capitol Police, and the Secret Service. And let me tell you when you always know you found yourself on the wrong side of the truth. When Caroline Leavitt tweets and says the Trump administration is... I'm getting there. The Trump administration is grateful to continue partnering with Mayor Bowser to make D.C. the safest city in the country. The mayor's fellow Democrats should take note. Working with President Trump means safer communities and less crime. No one in their right mind could seriously oppose that. And yet, Caroline, no one in their right mind could agree with you, friend. So now I want to turn to a young activist who was recently detained under this craziness. Her name is Afeni. She's involved with Free DC, and she had this to say about Muriel Bowser's pivot.
This occupation has emboldened an already overzealous police presence to increase their brutality and their subjugation against district residents. And no matter what the mayor says, the city of DC is not grateful for the influx of illegal stops and searches. The city of DC is not grateful, not thankful for the militarization of an unaccountable police force or performative patrols by Trump and his administration.
So I just think it's so important in this moment for us to understand what it looks like to be on the right side of history and on the wrong side of history. Right now, sadly, I believe the Black woman mayor of Washington, D.C. is on the wrong side of history. And I don't know who she thinks, what she thinks she's doing, what the strategy is here. We talk often about no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent interests. Maybe she thinks this is a permanent interest thing, but if she talks to her residents, I don't think that a lot of people see this in their interest. I'd love to hear what y'all think.
I have a question for Andrew. You may be about to answer it, but because you were a mayor, I mean, DC is a little different because it's home to the federal government and we don't have the autonomy that Tallahassee did. But I'm just curious, because you were a mayor, do you think that she handled this correctly? And if you were the mayor of Washington, D.C., how might you have handled it?
I appreciate the question. There are some differences, although we are both capital cities. Tallahassee, Florida is home to the center seat of government for the state of Florida. And at least for all of my adulthood, my politics have been opposite of that of the government in charge here in Florida. Yet and still, I don't know how. I keep thinking, y'all, you know me, I'm going to try to look at the glass half full if I possibly can on her behalf, which is to say, maybe she's doing some jujitsu, right? Like taking the energy that he's putting towards her and like reversing that thing and playing with his head in some way. And that behind the scenes, there is some masterful plan going on where she is being able to meet with members of Congress who have say so over her district, the District of Columbia, and is pocketing a hell of a lot of cash to then be reinvested in the city, the District of Columbia, in the types of programs that really do go toward reducing crime over the long haul. What we learned from the mayor of Chicago when he was giving national interviews, and still is, of course, is that he said, I don't just throw money at me, throw the right kind of money, throw the right kind of resources. Don't pull numbers out of the air. Let's deal with the facts that we have, and then the data that then suggests that if we put the money here, it'll take us a lot further. The mayor of D.C. has me very much flummoxed and confused. I don't know how, as a sitting mayor, one, you take it as a helpmate when the federal government essentially comes in and says you're doing a terrible job. And in fact, it's so terrible that we have to access and tap into a very little known and little used law to come in and do the job that you have failed to do. I believe Mayor Bowser is a 3-term mayor, maybe? Certainly 2 terms. Maybe on her 4th. I'm not real sure.
I think it's 3.
But all I'm saying is with that much tenure under your belt, municipal government with the responsibility of seeing to the safety of your citizens, I take it as a real insult. Okay, fine. Now I'm over ego, and I'm dealing with the fact that any surge that they could possibly produce for you is one that is not one that you can hold over the long term. And so what happens is after 30 days and maybe another 30-day extension and maybe a few more after that, the problem then comes back to you. And what do you think you're going to get? Because the material conditions on the ground of homelessness and poverty and mental health and people working a job that they can get paid to keep a roof over their head and food on the table, clothes on their backs, those things are still lacking. And on top of that, you got 300 plus Black women out of work, a lot of them based in Washington, D.C.
100,000, 300,000.
So I'm sorry, I hope I said 300,000. If I didn't, 300,000 plus, and the number is growing. So the conditions, again, material conditions on the ground are going to be abhorrent. And then it will appear again that you are incapable of doing your job. And what makes me really frustrated about the way in which this is now being handled by the mayor is that it gives them the wrong message and it sends the wrong policy prescript to these folks that you can just boost us for a couple of months with a bunch of military. And so we look like a police state, drive our numbers down. And then that's going to be considered success when in truth, on the other side of that is those numbers are going up. And I guarantee you they will be much higher than they were before the federal government ever entered that territory.
Yeah. Tiff?
So I have more questions than I do thoughts here. Andrew, again, what you just laid out. Donald Trump is already saying, and we've been telling our viewers, this is coming soon to a city near you.
Native Land Pod is a production of iHeartRadio in partnership with Reason Choice Media. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.